What is up, guys? It is Jacob from QuadHunting, and today we are doing another early roster prediction for the Lions. I did another one of these last month. I will link it down below. I might have something pop up over here that says click this if you want to see it. Anyways, so I did this last month. I think it was sometime in June. I can't remember. It was one of the last videos I did for this channel. I'm not trying to not do anything for it. It's just there's not really much to talk about. So kind of making things up as I go along to get things to talk about. I might start a weekly podcast type video thing if you guys are interested in that. It's where you could enter questions that, what do I feel about this or this player, who do I think is going to break out, any questions you guys want pertaining to the Lions or anything really, video games, Pistons, Tigers, well, not so much Tigers, I'm not too big into the Tigers, but pretty much any sports, games, whatever. Ask any questions, I'll answer them. Start doing a weekly video podcast if that interests you guys, talking about what I think and answering your questions. So let me know down below in the comments if you'd like to see that. Something I'm throwing around, but I want it to be, I want the subscribers, you guys, to be able to ask me things, and if there's not much interest in asking questions, then there's just not much interest for me in doing it. I want it to be a community, I want the community to take in that. So let me know what you guys think about all that. So anyways, going on to our roster predictions, it's going to be a totally different format. The reason it's taking so long to get any videos out, especially on this channel, it's slow. I did miss the Greg Robinson news. I did make a video for that. And then I went on vacation, came back like a week later. I'm like, well, it's not as big, but I'll get into Greg Robinson, what I think about that trade when I get to him in this roster prediction thing. So, but I have a whole new setup. This kind of looks like the old setup, but it's whole new computer, new monitors, I was getting all that worked out, getting how I wanted to get the videos recorded. I was using just another spot for a minute while I was, and then, it was harder to do it from there. It was because this is a long story. The computer was in a totally different area, my old laptop. I had to do all my editing standing up. There wasn't, for where my setup was, my laptop was over in the corner, connected to a really long VGA cable, which is into the monitor, which had the webcam on it, and it was just not a nice setup where I could have taken the laptop off there. Then it would take 3 hours to export the video on top of all the editing. So I was just kind of getting the video out just to get it out. Now I can do more editing and all that from a comfort of this chair. So I kind of rambled a lot. So anyways, hopefully more editing, the videos will look nicer, all that fun junk. So starting off with this roster, I've kind of gone back and forth how I want to present this. Do I want to present it as stock report like I did last time, or do I want to actually walk through the positions, who I think they'll keep? I'm thinking more along the lines of maybe stock report. The way I have them set up is I have locks, players who I know are going to make the team, players that have to work but are pretty confident they'll make the team. I'm pretty confident we'll make the team. Guys that really have to bust their tail but are on the bubble, the bubble section, and then guys that, barring miraculous circumstances, are going to get cut in the preseason, camp bodies. So we're going to kind of go through it like that. I think maybe once the season gets a little closer, I'll start narrowing down by position and that. But I do have them paper again, highlighted and marked up the way I like it, because I'm old school like that. Anyways, we're going to start off, we're going to go in alphabetical order. So first we're going to walk through who I think are locks to make the team. Locks are guys who I am, they were impact players last year. They're people who the team signed this year or drafted this year who I view as locks. Some of the draft picks I don't have as locks, but those are usually the late round guys who have to work or get put in the practice squad anyways. So these are who I think are locks. Amir Abdullah, Ziggy Ansah, Joe Dahl, Jared Davis, Quandre Diggs, Eric Ebron, Darren Fells, Graham Glasgow, Kenny Galladay, Kerry Hyder Jr., Marvin Jones Jr., Miles Killebrew, TJ Lang, Sam Martin, Don Mulback, Haloti Ngata, Matt Prater, Glover Quinn, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Theo Riddick, Michael Roberts, A'Shawn Robinson, Jake Rudock, Darius Slay, Akeem Spence, Matt Stafford, Travis Swanson, Thez Tabor, I mess up his name every time, I'm sorry, Thez, Golden Tate, Laken Tomlinson, Ricky Wagner, Cornelius Washington, Tahir Whitehead, Tavon Wilson, Paul Worlilo, Zach Zenner, and Anthony Zettel. So I'm going to walk through some of those choices real quick and why I have them as some other ones like Stafford. It's, well, duh. Other guys might be a little interesting that I have on this list. Also, I'll walk through those. And who I don't have on that list also. Starting off with Abdullah, I think he's the best running back on the team, and you're not going to get rid of that no matter how many injuries he's had so far. And he's only been hurt in the NFL. He never had issues in college as far as I can recall. So I don't think it's anything to be scared of, these last 2 injuries. I think they're freak things. He's not going to be a bell cow for us, so hopefully he'll be able to stay healthy enough to get 700 yards and 6 touchdowns. I'd be happy with those numbers from Amir Abdullah, contributing in the rushing and then also contributing as a weapon for Stafford. Ziggy Ansah I also have as a lock, and that's pretty much, he's the best pass rusher on the team, and a team that's pretty depleted at defensive line talent. So there's that. Joe Dahl, I believe, is a lock because his versatility across the offensive line. He looks to be he can play guard, and then they had him practicing at left tackle there for a little bit. So he's versatile. He can play right tackle, left guard, right guard. Pretty much the only thing I don't think he can play is center. He might surprise me able to play center too. So there's that. He's very versatile, and keeping him opens up another roster spot. Instead of, you can have just him backing up like left guard, left tackle, instead of having 2 different guys backing up those positions. You can just have him until someone gets hurt, and then you have to bring somebody else up. The one person I don't have on this list is Taylor Decker, and it's not because the whole injury thing. He's going to be put on the PUP list to start the season, so he's not going to count against the 53 men, and that's kind of what I wanted. I didn't want to put him as a 100% lock because he's going to make the team, but it's going to be on the PUP list. If you're a little confused by that, I don't really know how to explain the PUP list much. Darren Fells, I have because he's going to be the pass blocking tight end that we need, or desperately need. Ebron is he's a tight end in position only. He's more of an he plays better off the tight end position, more in the slot receiver, or he's not someone you want to depend on blocking. So Darren Fells is the guy we signed in the offseason from the Arizona Cardinals, who I'm projecting not so much to have a big year in terms of catches and touchdowns and yards and all that, but to have a good year and helping change the Lions' offensive scheme to being where they can run the ball consistently. He's a decent pass blocker. He's a better blocker than Ebron all the way around, and he can go out and catch if needed. Graham Glasgow, Kenny Galladay, I mean, those guys, I'm pretty sure Hyder, Marvin Jones is going to stick. Nothing really interesting on this page. Don Molbeck is making the team, and it's been pretty much confirmed. When the team cut Jimmy Landis, I almost forgot his name, the draft pick from last year, who got put in the IR, and it looked like it was going to be long snapper watch this year again, who was going to win that position, and it has gone to Molbeck. They decided to cut Landis, so long snapper watch is over. Haloti Ngata right now, I believe, he's going to make the team, even though he's got the high cap hit. He's not as good as he used to be anymore. He's gotten, age has hit him. But again, that defensive line is pretty depleted, and I think you need all the talent you can get there. And while he is older and not giving as much as he used to, he is still talented enough. So one of the most talented guys on our defensive line anyways. So moving right along, other guys that I'm trying to see, I have Jake Rudock as a lock. Right now, all reports coming out of training camp, or that came out of like all the OTAs and workouts that they were doing, was Jake Rudock is miles ahead of Brad Kaya. I hope I'm pronouncing Kaya right. I don't know. Comment down below. But I have not really heard his name pronounced enough to be able to know how it's pronounced. And I guess I could have looked that up, but but right now, all reports are Jake Rudock is miles ahead of Brad, and that it's pretty much his job to lose as the backup quarterback. And kind of what you hope out of a guy who's had a year in the system, that he would be ahead of a guy who is brand new. Even though at one time Kaya was projected to be a first-round pick, he fell away the 6th after a kind of a spotty senior season. It was a disappointing senior season for him in college. So we'll see what happens there. But I think it's Jake Rudock's job to lose on that starting or that backup quarterback position. I think other ones that I am a little on, Laken Tomlinson. I still think you don't give up on him this early. I was pushing hard last year for Travis Swanson to get cut because I didn't think he was going to be able to fulfill the roles for the center, and he ended up having a great year. Was one of the best centers in the NFL last year. Had that. He just came on good last year, and I'm hoping Laken Tomlinson can do that as well. Hopefully that happens. If it doesn't, it's a waste of a first-round draft pick. But it is not. It was a Mayhew pick. That was not a. Blanking on our general manager right now, his name. I have it. I just can't think of it right off the top. Bob Quinn. It is not a Bob Quinn pick, and that is important to remember. Bob Quinn has had no problem getting rid of Mayhew's picks and trying to progress his own. So hopefully Tomlinson can jump. I mean, otherwise you wasted a first-round draft pick there. So I'm trying to look at some of these other ones I'm seeing. Tahir Whitehead is a guy who I have marked down a little lower, but still a lock. They've already talked about how they want. I ain't blanking on a lot of names. I'm glad I have these in front of me. They want Jared Davis, a first-round draft pick. You'd think I know his name. They want him to be the middle linebacker. They've already said he is the middle linebacker, and so that moves Tahir Whitehead back outside. But with the addition of Worleylow, who I have as also a lock, and Jalen Reeves-Maben, those guys I think are going to try to push for that other linebacker spot because majority of the time, the Lions like to, as I've said in many videos, run the 4-2-5, which means they like to have 4 D linemen, 2 linebackers on the field, and 5 defensive backs. It looked the best when they had 3 safeties, 2 corners, 2 linebackers in the back 7. So hopefully, Tahir Whitehead is probably better than the other guys right now, but hopefully Jalen Reeves-Maben can push hard and push Tahir Whitehead to play the way he did a couple years ago when Stephen Tullett got hurt. So I don't really have any other guys I'm gonna make the team or that I'm pretty confident on yet. So we're gonna move on to the next category. These guys who I have as likely: Jared Abbrederis, Jamal Anu, Matt Asiata, Johnson Batamosi, Jace Billingsley, Armani Bryant, Don Carey, Alex Carter, Brandon Copeland, Tion Green, DJ Hayden, Jordan Hill, Tony Hills, TJ Jones, Brad Kaya, Leo Kaluamagalagi. I'm sorry, your name is kind of hard to pronounce. Cyrus Kahalangela. Yeah, I'm sorry. 2 hard names. Two names start with K. That's what their names are. You pronounce them how you think they should be pronounced. Nevin Lawson, Jeremiah Ledbetter, Cornelius Lucas, Kayshawn Martin, Corey Robinson, Greg Robinson, Brandon Thomas, Kyrie Thornton, Dwayne Washington, and Antoine Williams. Now, there's a couple names that I made this list a little bit ago, so there's a couple names that I believe may have another shot at making it, or may have now a better shot. Alex Barnett, the rookie out of San Diego State. He's also on this list, so there's 28. So Alex Barnett does get added. I missed him as I was going through because I didn't have him highlighted. But I believe he is likely now with the lack of talent on defensive end. I'll go through this a little more position-wise, like I said, a little bit later. So that way you guys can see who I think. But starting out with Jared Abbrederis. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Hopefully. You're probably not watching anyways. So right now, all reports are he's coming out in the OTAs. He was coming on huge, was the one making these amazing catches, was looking good with Stafford. So that's always good news when he's making good catches and looking good in training camp. Hopefully he doesn't end up like the Patrick Edwards situation where he's a training camp darling and that doesn't produce in the regular season when called upon. So right now I think he's in the battle for the 5th wide receiver spot, along with Jace Billingsley I have on this list, and Kayshawn Martin. I believe those are and TJ Jones. I believe those are the guys right now fighting for the 5th and possibly final wide receiver spot on the team. 4th and 5th. Forgot. We don't have Anquan Bolden anymore. So right now I believe they're the ones fighting for the 4th and 5th spot, and there's 2 of them. I have 4 of them that could make it. So I believe those 4 right now are competing, and right now I think it's Jace Billingsley. I think number 1 is Jared Abbrederis, Chase Billingsley tied maybe with the TJ Jones, and then Kayshawn Martin down and behind there. That's kind of how I'm feeling it out of all the reports coming out of OTAs and how they're lining up with everyone, with the first team and second team, third team, etc. Jamal Agnew, the rookie this year from San Diego, they've got high hopes for him. I think right now he is likely to make the team just because of his special teams ability where he can return punts and kicks. I believe that gives him a leg up on some of the other corners. So there's that. Matt Asiata, I believe, is a guy who could make the team. I have him lower. I've just never been real big on him, even when he was with Minnesota and replacing Adrian Peterson. I never was high on him. So there's that. I'm not 100%. I don't know really how to feel about him. Johnson Batamosi, I believe, has an uphill fight. He's still likely, but I believe he's got to work a lot harder this year to make the team, mainly just because of all the depth they've gotten at corner now. They drafted 2 corners this year in Tabor and Agnew, and then they got DJ Hayden in free agency. Those 3 more guys that Johnson Batamosi's got to fight with. So, again, that. I've already mentioned Chase Billingsley. Marty Bryant, defensive end in a depleted defensive roster. Don Carey is the same thing as Johnson Batamosi. Uphill battle. Not uphill battle, but a battle to keep his spot. Alex Carter I have on this list because with all the depth at corner now, he moved over to safety, and I believe that's his best chance. I believe he can beat out a Don Carey or a... who else do we have as backups? I think it's just Don Carey is our 4th backup. I might see another name later and go, oh, duh. But I think he has a better chance of making the team now as a safety than he did as a corner. As a corner, I had him as pretty much dead in the water, camp body at best. But now it sounds like he's got a shot at being a safety on the Lions, and so that's always a good thing. And then Brandon Copeland, versatility again, just like Joe Dahl. He can play D-end and he can play linebacker. He doesn't play either really great, but he does it adequately enough where you don't have to carry another body. You can just carry him, and then he'll be able to kind of do it. Moving on, Tion Green, I believe, is going to fight with Asiata and Dwayne Washington for that 4th and possibly also final. We're not carrying a fullback this year. We did cut Burton, so it could be 5 running backs this year on the roster. It could be 4. So he could be fighting with Asiata and Dwayne Washington, but a lot of fans are high on Tion Green, so keep an eye on him. DJ Hayden, I believe, was going to make I believe he's going to make the team. I believe he could use he might have a better chance. A lot of analysts say that his defensive style fits our defensive play calls and schemes, so there's that. Jordan Hill, Tony Hill's depth. I already mentioned TJ Jones and Brad. Okay, the 2 linemen with the weird last names. Let's start off with Leo. Insert name here. I'm just going to put it on the screen. Every time I said insert here, his name's going on the screen. Right now, reports came out that he was the 2nd center in all of the camps that they had so far, OTAs and such. He was 2nd center. That makes sense now that they're trying to put Graham Glasgow as the starting left guard. You don't want your starting left guard to also be your backup center. It kind of happens in Madden every once in a while, and you get annoyed and try to line up the depth chart right, like I do. I'm OCD about that. But right now, it looks like it's going to be Leo blank in there. Then you got Cyrus, insert name here. Cyrus comes in. He was a guy I was kind of hoping the Lions would get. He was one of my, after Decker went down, it was what are the options? Who can the Lions get? He was on that list for me, and I think hopefully a change of scenery like DJ Hayden's getting can be helpful to him. And hopefully playing alongside some better offensive line mates will make him better. So Nevin Lawson, I believe right now, he's in that jumbled corner mess right now. Right now, you pretty much have 2 corners who you're really, really positive are making the team, and Tabor and Slay. I mean, Hayden I have an okay, maybe. Batamosi, maybe. Agnew, maybe. So everyone else besides those 2 I have as likely or have to battle. So they're all going to be battling between each other. So Nevin Lawson is a guy who last year, according to stats, was okay. If you look at Pro Football Focus, his stats were fine. His advanced metrics were fine. But as Lions, I didn't really think he played great last year. And a lot of Lions fans complained about him last year as the number 2 corner, and that was a need because he wasn't adequate enough. So I believe he's in that position. I have Diggs as a lock, while I have Lawson as not a lock because Diggs is better at playing the slot corner than a Lawson is. So Lawson is more of an outside corner, and I think anyways. I might be getting this all mixed up. But anyways, that corner mess is all jumbled. Jeremiah Ledbetter, rookie, D-line depth. We drafted him. Cornelius Lucas. So let's talk about Cornelius Lucas, Corey Robinson, and Greg Robinson all right now. I guess I could have done that with Cyrus too. But I believe those 4 guys are going to fight for the left tackle / backup right tackle spot. There's a lot of guys, not a lot of roster spots. So right now when you have a Joe Dahl who can play almost every spot on the offensive line except center, that's a problem for these guys because Dahl is versatile enough, whereas Cyrus looked decent enough at right tackle, but projects to be better at left tackle. But is he going to get time at left tackle? And is Corey Robinson going to be able to fight to stay on the team? And same with Cornelius Lucas. And now is Greg Robinson going to be decent enough to get a contract from the Lions or get a bigger contract from someone else? So all things to watch out for. So there's a big battle right now at the tackle positions. It's kind of mentioned it like that. I already talked about Keyshawn Martin, Corey, then Greg. Brandon Thomas, I have O-line depth. A lot of fans are high on him. I'm not sure why. I haven't seen him. So the only reason I have him unlikely is just for that reason. Kyrie Thornton, D-line depth. Dwayne Washington, mentioned running back help. Antoine Williams last year was a rookie linebacker. I was pretty impressed with him being called upon as early as he was in his career with the injuries to Levy and such. Hopefully he's progressed enough and he could be a decent backup for us. But yeah, that's kind of it. Some other guys to keep your eyes on. Again, without a fullback, you carry 5 running backs, 4 tight ends. Kind of interesting to look at what they do there. So I have some tight ends that I have listed that might be people to watch out for. Wick, Tanyan, and Lee. Those are the 3 I believe are going to have. They could possibly fight for a 4th tight end spot if they keep it. Right now, I don't know if Lee or no, they're all more receivers. So do you make Roberts your H-back? Do you make the rookie they drafted this year? What's his name? He's on the other side of this paper. I'm flipping these a lot. Michael Roberts, do you make him the H-back, the kind of the replacement fullback who can also go out and catch? I think that's more of a job for him, but is his run blocking adequate enough from that role in the backfield? Be interesting to look at if the Lions keep 3 or 4 tight ends. Same with running backs. Do they keep 4 or 5? Do they keep a backup? Do they keep a 3rd string quarterback? How many tackles do they bring in? How many guards, centers? How does that all look on the offensive line? D-line, same thing. How many linebackers are they going to carry? We already talked about centers. Corners, safeties. When we know who our kickers and punter are, it's Matt Prater and it's Sam Martin, and now Don Molbag. Right now, special teams, besides returners, that's locked up, which is good. So I kind of rambled. I'm going to have fun editing this. Kind of tried to do it all in one shot, and it didn't really work out well. I had to stop and start again. But anyways, those are who right now, I believe. Mike James is a guy some fans are high on. Trying to think of other names on this list that people have talked about. Steve Longa at linebacker is a name I've heard a couple times. And there's Thurston Armburster, who did not play very well last year. Darius Barnes, again, did not play very well last year. I like the name Ego Ferguson. Defensive line help, maybe. That's going to be probably the easiest place to make the team. Storm Norton, Pat O'Connor, both rookies this year. Norton comes in as an undrafted free agent as a tackle. Big boy, though, at 6'8", 306. That's a big tackle. So maybe his size helps him get a spot if he plays decently enough. If there's potential there, maybe he's a guy you stash on the practice squad. Pat O'Connor, low-round pick this year, so maybe there. And then I'm not really seeing other guys who I've heard a lot of things about. So maybe Jeremiah Vloga, the D-end out of the University of Las Vegas, maybe. But So those are the guys right now to keep your ears to the ground for. Listen, those guys I believe might have the best shot of the guys I have is listed just as camp bodies. I didn't go through the whole list of camp bodies because don't really think there's much to talk about there. So that's what my list looks like right now. Let me know down below who you think I've missed, maybe who I need to keep my eyes and ears out for. And again, let me know down below if you'd be interested in a weekly podcast that would cover Lions news for the week, your guys' questions, my answers, that kind of thing. Let me know about that. I'm kind of curious, kind of interested in doing it. If you like the video, leave likes, leave comments down below about everything I just told you about. It's all jumbled. So subscribe to the channel, more Lions news. Hopefully stuff starts picking up. I guess no news is kind of good news right now, because otherwise it could be, more bad news about Calvin Johnson bad-mouthing us like he's been doing recently and making me sad, because he was one of my favorites. So, yeah, there's that. And at least it's not arrests and suspensions and that kind of thing. It's a quiet off-season. Quiet off-seasons are not always bad. But, yeah, all that stuff. Links, likes, subscribes, share the video, leave comments, all that good stuff. And I will talk to you guys all next time.